Good day everyone, I'm Diane Kristle Padayao and I'll be discussing our topic for today. Throughout this video, there are 3 subtopics that is to be discussed, and these are the social linguistics, the social dimension, and lastly, the 4 dimensions and scale of the social context. But before we proceed to the 3 subtopics, let us first define and identify what is grammar, grammatical, knowledge, grammar assessment, and why it is important. Grammar is the way in which words are combined to form a sentence. For example, Johnny is jumping, with a subject and an action word to describe the subject. Next is grammatical knowledge. Grammatical knowledge is the accurate production and comprehension of a grammar. It is important for us to have a grammatical knowledge because without it, we may have a misunderstanding with one another. Next is grammar assessment. It is used to assess the grammatical knowledge of a person. It is important especially for a teacher to know and assess his or her student to help him determine the proficiency in a certain language. Now, you may wonder why I added the social linguistic as the subtopic in assessing grammar through social dimension. It is important to tackle the social linguistics because it studies the complex relationship of language and society. Social linguistics explain why we speak differently in a different social context. It also studies how the language varieties differ and separated by a social variables. And that is where social dimension comes in. In social linguistics, social dimensions are the characteristics of the context that affect how language is used. Generally, there are 4 dimensions to the social context that are measured and analyzed through the use of 5 scales. The 4 dimensions are the social distance, status, formality, and functional. Social distance in the 4 dimensions does not mean the social distance that we use throughout the pandemic. Social distance means how well we knew a person or the person we are talking to. However, if we are talking to a stranger, we consider to call him or her as Mr. or Miss. For example, if a stranger asks me something, I would respond to him or her like this. What are you looking for, mister? We don't address a stranger or greet him casually as, hey, because we might offend him or he might be someone in authority that must be treated in a more formal and respectful way. Next to social distance is Status. Status is not the status of your relationship, such as complicated, single, or taken. Status means the social ranking of the person you are talking to. The way we speak to our peers is different from the way we speak to our boss. Speaking to our peers or colleagues is way more casual than the way we speak with our boss. We treat them and talk to them with respect. Next is formality. Formality can be determined in the presence or absence of the colloquial language or slang languages. In a highly formal setting, such as giving a speech, the earthly languages is lessened, may disappear, and also the idioms. Even your voice or the way you speak is kind of different when you're talking with formality. Because when you're talking casually with your friends, your voice is kind of relaxed. But with formality, it is more prim. Lastly is the function. It can be referential and affective. Referential is a measure of the amount of information being shared in a discourse. It is kind of more informative about the facts and statistics, while the affective is more emotional. It is about you telling what you feel or how you feel. But referential and affective can be interrelated. So in short, social distance is about our relationship with who are talking to, while status depends on the social ranking of the person we are talking to. The formality can depend on the setting and also be largely determined through solidarity and relationship status with who we are talking to. Next is the function. It is referential if the speaker tend to speak less about his or her feelings, while affective is expressing how the speaker feels about the topic or about someone.